If you're looking for the cheapest and most reliable Madden 22 coins on the market, check out my sponsor, MMOEXPR.com. Links are in the description, and use code JEDI at checkout for 5% off. Alrighty, hey there guys, Adrian Costa here, aka JediBro95, coming at you guys with another video. So today, we have a bunch of players we're doing a gameplay for. We got 4 on offense, guys, and then we have 1 on the defensive side. So first off, we'll start with Edgerrin James. Now, I did promise you guys a gameplay of Edgerrin on Monday, but unfortunately, I ended up having to do something else in the day, so we ended up not doing it. But Edgerrin James, he's in the gameplay. As you can see, 99 speed, 97 excel, 98 agility, 95 carrying. Is he the best running back in the game? In my humble opinion, I think he is, with his size, his speed, his trucking, and also after the catch, even on the run. 98 spin, 96 juke move, 98 stiff arm. He's got some good stuff to him after the catch. He's got 89 short route and 88 catching. He's also 6'2", 219. So in my opinion, he is the best running back in the game in terms of like what you want basically from your do-it-all backs. Then we have the brand new LTD Russell Wilson. Now he is going for an incredibly cheap price right now. So if you want a very good quarterback, especially for, a cheap team, or you just need like a good QB, go pick this card up. It is worth the time. It is a very good card in my opinion. It's probably the best quarterback in the entire game. 98 speed, 98 throw power, 96 short, 98 mid, 97 deep accuracies, 96 under pressure, and 99 on the run and play action. Now, obviously, he's not going to be too much different from his Legends card that we got back in, I want to say January was his last card. So he's obviously not going to be too much different. He's not going to have too many differences in terms of his stats. He only really got a +2 in a lot of stats. But the one thing that really does make this card great now is he does get Hot Route Master. And I am not a Hot Route Master person, I'm not much of a Hot Route person, but obviously an ability like this, I can't not take this for, especially on a quarterback like Russell Wilson, right? He gets Hot Route Master, Pass Lead Elite, and he does also have a long range Deadeye as well on his item, so he does, come with some good abilities. But other abilities you can rock with the Russell Wilson. Gunslinger obviously is a great choice. Conductor is something if you have the AP for it, you can definitely utilize. You got Escape Artist, you got your Fearless, you got your Threat Detector, you got your Identifiers. He does come with a decent amount of abilities. Are they the best in the game? Some of them are, some of them aren't. It just depends on the person. But I love this Russ card so much. Kind of makes up for him not getting an upgrade towards the end of the year last year when they did power-up expansions. So next we'll do Noah Fant. Now, he actually has his team cam now. It is live in the game. They did say that it was going to be tomorrow, but obviously it's here now. So I am going to be showcasing Noah Fant in this gameplay. Well, hopefully. I don't remember how exactly the game did go off the top of my head. We'll go over it when we get there. I don't remember how well he did. But Noah Fant is a really solid tight end. 97 speed, 98 acceleration, and is also 6'4", which does lend him to have a better impact on the game because of his size. And then lastly, we have Davante Adams. Now, originally, I was not even going to bother with this card. I thought to myself, we didn't need it because we had so many great wide receivers for the team that are overdue for upgrades. Metcalf, Lockett, TJ Houshmandzadeh, even David Moore, Joey Galloway, just to name those, they were all due for upgrades sooner or later. But, I ended up pulling an LTD Russ out of the reroll, so I was like, you know what, let's just get Davante. Let's just go get him, yada, yada, yada. So, Davante Adams, 99 speed, 99 jump, catch and traffic, spec catch, 97 short and mid route running, and 99 deep route. Also has 98 juke, 93 spin, 96 change of direction. He's the best receiver in the entire game, in my opinion. I don't think it's a debate. I think Davante Adams is just the best receiver in the game. Now for abilities, obviously he does get route tech, but you can get things like Outside Apprentice, Slot-O-Matic, Matchup Nightmare, which I would not recommend on this guy. He also does get Deep Out Elite for 1 AP. He gets the In and Out Elites for 1 AP, except for Short and Elite. Remember that is 2 AP. For him, but he also does get Playmaker for 5 AP, so he does have a little bit of abilities you can work with, and I love this Davante Adams card. He actually had a very good game in the gameplay. He actually had a couple of touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. Because I didn't look at the stats after the game. And then lastly, for the defense, we have Chandler Jones. Now, again, not a Seahawk by any means, but he was a free agent, so we decided to pick him up. Now, speed-wise, he's not very fast. Obviously, 91 speed. He's not going to be the fastest guy in the world, but 98 block shed, power move, and 96 finesse move. That is incredible value for a pass rusher. Yes, he's not going to be very fast, but having that ability, those attributes are going to help him out significantly. Now I did put on under pressure. I have 2 under pressures on my edge rushers. And I also put on strip specialist on him. I'm probably going to cut strip specialist because I don't really think it's that good. But probably going to cut strip specialist, maybe put ability on somebody else, maybe even, do something else with him. So Chandler Jones, he does get some decent abilities. He does have, unpredictable, which I might do. Double or nothing, edge threat elite. Oh, that's edge threat. Edge threat elite. Why are edge threat and edge threat elite the same? I don't freaking know. But edge threat elite, out of my way. Run stopper is also a really good one. El Toro is a solid pass rush ability. Does get defensive rally, but it is 2 AP on outside linebackers. So, but Chandler Jones was also really good too. I think he had a couple of sacks in the gameplay. So, but without further ado, and after a very long intro, let's jump into the gameplay. All right, as we begin, you can see Ricky Williams, Ray Lewis, and Randall Cunningham are his top 3, and then mine are Russell Wilson, Davante Adams, and Sean Springs. So before we continue on with the deep dive into the gameplay and touching on this stuff in the game, I want to give a huge shout out to the best ever 99, aka Michael Godfrey on Twitter. Go follow him. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Go do everything you possibly can to show him some support. He was very generous enough to be there for me when I needed him to be today, because with this gameplay, there was a lot going on with the gameplay that it was very close to not even happening today. So I touched on it on Twitter, but what happened is that I was in contact with Jock YouTube. If you guys know who Jock is, he's basically the theme team creator on Madden 22, or Madden, right? Like, he does basically everything of his content is theme team rankings, theme team gameplays, theme team players, etc., etc. And he builds, like, basically every theme team in the game. Like, this year alone, he's already built, like, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Falcons. I think he's built the Jaguars at one point, too. I can't remember. And he's also used my buddy Michael's Ravens theme team in videos, so go check him out. But I was in contact with Jock. As you see, Devin Hester gets a nice pick there. Definitely did not expect that, not even gonna lie. But I was in contact with Jock, and I asked him last night, after all of the free agency cards were revealed, I'm like, yo, do you want to do a Seahawks theme team lineup thing for your channel since, the new Russ is out? And he's like, yeah, no problem. I definitely can, like, if you would let me. And we have a little bit of a gameplay hurdle to cross, because I am on current gen and he's on next gen. And in Madden 22, it was the same way as it was in Madden 21 between generations. You cannot play seasons in between generations. Like, I can't be starting a current gen season and go play next gen on that same season. I can't do that. So it was a little bit frustrating. It's a little bit frustrating in that situation, but you see Marcus Davenport there getting a nice sack. He actually had, I think that was the only sack he had, but Marcus Davenport is a really good card, but we'll touch on that in another video. But so I was talking to him, and I basically quit out my season. Like, I even though I was in the playoffs, I personally just didn't care, because I just don't care about head-to-head seasons that much. I just play the game for fun. Mainly speaking, just play the game for fun. As you see right here, first and goal here, he actually does get out of the pocket, and he actually does take a hit from Bobby, but he holds on, gets a touchdown, so he's up 7-0. So I actually have a season, like, waiting to be started right now, waiting for him to do a gameplay for his channel. And I thought it was going to be done today, so I announced that I was going to be doing my gameplay tomorrow because of that, and also I had to do some things in terms of adulting today. But Jock unfortunately had to cancel, and so that opened me up to do a gameplay, but I didn't want to do it on head-to-head seasons because I was already waiting for him to do it for his channel. So I decided to just reach out and say, hey, yo, who wants to do a gameplay with me today for the channel? And luckily, Michael was stepped up. He was like, yeah, no problem, I'll do a gameplay with you. So much love to him and much appreciated. Go check him out, guys. So here, I don't know how I got away with this. I am actually quite genuinely surprised I got away with this. As you see, Rush just breaks free of our lineman's tackle, and we actually take it 62 yards for a rushing TD. Yeah, basically, we tie out the game on our rushing TD. So, but now that the whole confusion and introduction, the confusion part and all the extracurriculars are out of the way, let's talk about the gameplay itself. And I'll talk about the cards in question. So, when it comes to Russell Wilson, I think he is the top quarterback in the game now. I would dare say he is the best QB in the game. And if you want to say Joe Namath, I would personally disagree, because I think, Russ having those good abilities does help out. And yeah, sure, you may say, well, Russ doesn't have Slinger 1. I would argue that Slinger 1 is probably the most overrated release in the entire game, just because it's not good on deep balls. And on the deep passes, what people fail to bring up when it comes to Slinger 1, and me personally in general, I just think release culture, releases on QBs are just overrated altogether. I don't think you really need to worry about too much about a rating release. As you see, Cam Chancellor forces a fumble there from Ricky Williams after we do get a little bit of a hit on him, and then Cam Chancellor comes in and finishes the job. So, before we continue that thought, this play right here, I am so sad I could not get this off. I had Jerry Rice open on the deep post, and I was going to throw it, but I ended up running out of time and taking the sack. So we are coming up on 2nd and 20 here. We just call this switch fork concept. I did have the sideline, but I did see Davante over the middle, so we did take the completion there. So, but anyways, in my opinion, quarterback releases, in my opinion, are overrated. Yes, there are releases that are bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit there and argue that there are other releases good. However, when you're debating on releases, you're talking about microcosms of a second and fractions of a second that genuinely speaking, don't matter in the long run. Like, take, for example, the difference between Slinger 1 and Traditional 1 and Generic 3, which are Tom Brady's and Russell Wilson's releases. Like, the difference between those is so microscopic that you barely notice it in game some days. Especially if you have a velocity ability like Pass Leader Leader Gunslinger. So, I don't understand why everybody is so obsessed with these QB releases when half of them are basically so similar in time that it ultimately just never matters, right? Like, it ultimately just doesn't matter how it goes. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a little bit of a weirdo like that, but I just personally think that release culture is overrated, and I think QB releases are a bit over-exaggerated. So, well, that's why I say, and that's also why I think Russ is just the best QB in the game, because he gets a lot of great abilities. I'm pretty sure Joe Namath does get Hot Route. Actually, Joe Namath cannot get Hot Route Master, because he has to, no, Namath can, because he's a field general. I forgot. I thought Namath was a strong arm. No, he's a field general. So, they all can get Hot Route Master, and they can get in. You can get Escape Artist and everything. And you see his Odafe Away comes in and gets a nice sack. But I think personally it's just a little overrated. And I like Russ. I think this Russell Wilson is just great. It's probably the best Russell Wilson I've used. Well, obviously I've only had 2 years of Russell Wilson, but I love this card. I love the card. I think he's really, really good. As you see here, we just throw the ball away. I don't want to take another sack to take me out of field goal range. So now we're up 10-7. Edgerrin James, in my opinion, I would say he is in the conversation as the best back. I think he is, but if you want to disagree, because there are so many good running backs in the game, I wouldn't disagree. However, Davante Adams, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the game this season, right now. As of the recording of this video, Davante Adams is the best wide receiver in this game because of the fact that, one, he's got 99 basically everything. He can get 99 speed on any team, and you don't need to be on a theme team. You can have the 2 DB strat items, and he'll have 99 speed. Second, he does get every theme team chem, so that ultimately helps out significantly when you're trying to make it to where you're cutting out on receivers that don't need the extra speed. Like, you're trying to cut out that strat item and trying to get another one. As you see, I actually did have Davante Adams open on the streak, but I didn't throw it. I wanted to, and I did see him, but I just didn't take it for some reason. I don't remember why. I think it was just because I didn't think I could get it over the defensive back or something like that. Or the window was so tight, maybe he would have caught up and made a play. But 2nd and 5, we just hit Davante Adams on the drag route, and we actually do get into first down here. So 1st and goal from the 9. We actually go back to a read option, and we actually get him again on the read option. So we go up by 2 scores going into halftime, which, nothing really happened after that. He did get a nice catch for a big gain, but ultimately the clock ran out, so he wasn't able to capitalize. So 1st and 10 here on the second play of the half. We're going into just, he does do a jet pass or jet sweep. I don't know what it's called. 2nd and 10 here. Now, that is my own fault. I know you're probably thinking, why didn't Richard Sherman animate? Because when I clicked on, I actually went to hit the guy. I actually went to hit him to knock him down instead of trying to make a play on the ball. So if I try to make a play on the ball there, I pick that, no problem. But because I decided to go for the hit, I ultimately did not get the interception. So that is my own undoing. I even knew that in the game. I was like, after a little bit, I was like, what the fuck happened there? And then after watching the play over, I'm like, oh, okay, I chose to try and go for a hit stick and rather than the pick. But Taylor Mays comes from his deep half. He gets the interception there. So we end up getting the interception anyway. So good for Taylor Mays. I think Taylor Mays is still very good. Taylor Mays is still really, really good. But continuing on, like, Davante Adams is like, having him be 99 speed on any team now, even without the strat items, definitely can go a long way into helping you out, because now you can get a different strat item for different cards, and I probably will look to get a new strat item for my wide receivers or my whatever else. As we try to truck it up to Jerry Rice, but deep route KO does take that down, so we ultimately do not get the completion there. So we go into 2nd and 10 here. We call a nice double. This is a man coverage look here. He did play a lot of man because his scheme is a lot of man coverage. So, but we end up taking a hit as we throw it, and it just falls incomplete. So 3rd and 10 here. Trying to convert this. We do call a nice little Pat's slant cross. We just put edge rating and pass protection, and I actually put Noah Fant on a streak. And we actually do beat him over the top. Noah Fant does get deep down the field, and he actually does hold on to the ball there. So that was a huge play by Noah. Great job, man. Hopefully you can do that when you actually do take the field for the regular season this coming year. And so, yeah, that's my opinions on those cards. Obviously, Chandler Jones, I said in the video and the intro, he's not the best by any means, but he's serviceable. He'll get the job done. 2nd and 10 here. I tried to bounce the outside on that first one. But this one I know for a fact I just bounce outside because we don't have any out. He doesn't have any no outsiders, or if he did, it didn't get through. So 3rd and inches here. We call a nice little angle route, like a lot of man beating routes. But we do get Jerry Rice open on the sideline of the end zone. But the ball does sail a little bit, and he does have to come back. And then on this play here, 4th and inches, he actually does run commit, and he does get the stop. So good call there. Great defense by Michael. Again, I could not do this without him today, man. Like I cannot thank him enough for stepping in when I needed him the most today. That angle route was open, but I'm pretty sure under pressure activated, because I actually do have 2 under pressures on my defensive line. I do have 2 under pressures, 2 inside stuffs, a run stopper on Vince Wilfork, and then I got a defensive rally on Marcus Davenport. As you see, he actually does get that play to the sideline. I don't know how it got caught. I probably should have knocked that down, but Deion Sanders gets another nice play on the sideline. That was a good catch there. He actually brought in Lamar Jackson, which I didn't realize until now. I was like, oh shit, he brought in Lamar. So, but Taylor Mays gets another pick. He actually that was his 2nd pick. I think he only had 2 picks this game. He actually did play pretty well. I still love Taylor. I love Taylor Mays. I think he's still the best, one of the better safeties in the game. I wouldn't say the best, but you definitely can have him out there. So 1st and 10, just trying to get the clock going a little bit, go into the 4th. Now this was a disaster. I tried a bootleg because I'm sure he was expecting me to run, but we called a bootleg. Unfortunately, he does have good contained defense, and he ended up giving up a safety. So 1st and 10. So that didn't end well. 1st and 10 here. He does go to the corner route here, but the deep crosser. But Richard Sherman does get to it in time. But unfortunately, he could not keep his feet in bounds, which does unfortunately mean that we do not get the interception, only the incompletion. So unfortunately, I couldn't do anything about it. And as you see right here, I'm just changing up some things. I don't mean to be putting this in the gameplay, guys, but I'm recording the voiceover for it now, so it's already too late. So, but 2nd and 10 here. Now, I wanted to call match coverage on this. I was trying to find a match coverage play in time, but unfortunately, we could not, and I did not have any match coverage in my audible, so this ended up going completely wrong for me. He actually does get it with Deion, and he just takes off. He's gone. He takes a nice 80-plus yard TD to the house, 85 yards to be exact, so he's now back in the game. He has to go for 2 to tie it, which he actually does here. But fortunately for me, even though he does audible into an I form, and he does, Sheldon Richardson makes an incredible play with his inside stuff to get the shed and get the tackle for loss. So good for Sheldon. But on this play here, Davante Adams just completely burns his man in press coverage. So I just throw it up to him, and he actually does get the catch and takes it, continuing on to the house for 7 points. So 75-yard TD, so we get it right back. That long pass for this long pass. So back up by 9. We just kicked the extra point. I don't really feel like going for 2 because why the fuck would I? So down 9. Lots of time though. Still a lot of time. He still can make a comeback here. He actually does try the corner again, but this time Chancellor breaks it up. So we do, or that was a crosser. So that was my apologies. It was a crosser. So 2nd and 10 here. He's going back to, I believe he went back to the same play. Yeah, he did. He went back to the same play. I mean, to be fair, it's a really good play. And he tries it again, but this time Sherman does get to the ball, and this time he comes away with the interception. So there is that. So now I'm just looking to get the clock going. You know, I don't want to chew clock by any means because, you know, in any other game, if I was playing against like somebody I didn't know or someone I just did not care to know, I would obviously just chew clock here. But on this play here, I genuinely thought I got picked off, which is why I went down, because I genuinely thought I got picked off, and I was just like, what the fuck, for a minute. So that's why I went down, at least for me personally. That's why I was like, what the fuck. With 2nd and 6, I tried to escape out of the pocket, but Cam Chancellor's right there to get the sack. So 3rd and 14 here. Again, you know, looking to convert here, but unfortunately, we just don't convert on this down. We end up, you know, throwing it up to Davante Adams as of, you know, there's the snap, okay. A little bit behind, guys, because of the fucking play calling, but we throw it up to Davante. He doesn't come down with it, which probably wouldn't have anyways because deep route KO. So we end up punting. Here, 1st and 10, Sean Springs does not get to the ball. He just goes right over his head. So 2nd and 10 here, you know, he audibles into bunch tight end. So, he calls I think I'm pretty sure this was PA boot over, but, Chandler Jones comes away with an incredible sack. So 3rd and 16 from the 5, again, you know, one stop here basically just seals the game. If we just give up a big bomb, then all of a sudden we're just fucked. But we just got to make sure we don't give up anything, deep. So obviously we're just playing our matches. He actually throws it up. I thought it was 4th down, so that's why I swatted the ball. If it wasn't 4th, I would have. If I realized it wasn't 4th, I would have picked it. But 4th and 16, this is basically for the game here. He throws it to Sean Springs. He throws it, tries to get it to Mark Andrews, but Sean Springs plays it, and we end up getting the interception on that. So 17 yard line, 1 minute 18 seconds left in the game. Obviously, I'm gonna still keep playing. You know, because I just feel like keep playing. Like I said earlier, if this was any other game, any other person, I would have just chewed clock. I would have just ran the ball and tried to get out of the game with a win, because I just don't want to keep playing the game any longer. But, you know, if it's somebody I give a crap about, I'm gonna be nice. You know, I'm not gonna be an asshole and just chew clock and run ball. But I mean, you know, it is what it is. So 1st and goal here, Marshawn Lynch punches it in because we did sub him in. So, and that was basically the end of the game. He ended up getting the kickoff, and he just kneeled the rest of the game. So unfortunately, I did not look at the stats because my impression was with the stats that they were going to be on the player for head-to-head. But when I looked at them, but for some reason they never were. So unfortunately, I do not have the stats for the game. But I'm going to assume Davante Adams had over 100 yards rushing, receiving. I mean. And Edgerrin James did not have a good game. Russell Wilson had a couple of picks. I think he actually only had the 1 pick. But Russ had a pick. But he also had a touchdown to Davante. So overall, it was a good game. But if you guys did enjoy this type of game, hit the like button below and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.